Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Gardenia. At this time, we would ask you to please silence all electronic devices and be advised that there is no flash photography or video recording permitted during the performance. Thank you. And now, will you please welcome Mr. Elliot Zwiebach.
My doll is as dainty as a sparrow. Her figure is something to applaud. Where she's narrow as an arrow. And she's broad where a broad should be broad. 101 pounds of fun, that's my little honey bun. Get a load of honey bun tonight. I'm speaking of my sweetie pie, only 60 inches high. Every inch is packed with dynamite. Her hair is blonde and curly. Her curls are hurly-burly. Her lips are pips. I call her hips twirly and whirly. Woo, she's my baby. I'm her pap. I'm her booby. She's my trap. I am caught and I don't want to run, 'cause I'm having so much fun with honey bun. Believe me, Sonny, she's a cookie who can cook you till you're done. Ain't being funny. Sonny, put your money on my honey bun. Thank you very much. That was Honey Bun from South Pacific. That's the first song I ever sang in public for an audience willing to listen. And I sang it right in this very spot about 13 years ago when I was a youngster of 62. And I never imagined when I haltingly sang that song the first time that I would ever get to this place. But get a load of Honey Bun tonight. And get a load of my musical director, Bob Remstein, who entertained you earlier with the Carousel Waltz from Carousel by Rodgers and Hammerstein. My late-in-life singing career started when I talked my way into becoming a reviewer for Cabaret Scenes magazine, at which point I realized I didn't know anybody in cabaret, and I didn't know how to find them. And so in a move whose inspiration has totally escaped me, I decided to come to the Tuesday night open mic here at the Gardenia to see who I could review. After 6 or 7 weeks of just being part of the audience, the hostess, Carrie Kelsey, who I saw, there she is. Carrie Kelsey said to me, you seem to enjoy this kind of music. Do you sing? Well, the honest answer was absolutely not. I did not sing. No one outside my family had ever heard me sing. And although I did sing sometimes for my own amusement when I was alone, I wasn't always amused. But for some reason that night, I decided to take a positive attitude and say, well, let me think about it if I want to sing. And I was in the car a few days later and listening to South Pacific, and it came to Honey Bun, and I sang along, and I said, that might work. So I told Carrie I was going to do it in a few weeks. But one night before a few weeks, she said to me, are you ready to do your song tonight? And I stood back there in the back of the room, the same place I made my grand entrance tonight, and just spent a half hour going back and forth. Should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? And there were two singers. I decided to do it. There were two singers ahead of me. I have no idea to this day what they sang because of the pounding in my head and the growling in my stomach. But I came up here and I did the song, and it didn't kill me. And so I did Honey Bun. I did Honey Bun for the next few weeks. And what I learned from that experience was that even at 62, and someone who was pretty set in his ways, I could still experience new things. And now at the age of 75 and a half, I'm still doing new things. And so I guess you could say I have a very positive, very optimistic attitude about life. When the sky is a bright canary yellow, I forget every cloud I've ever seen. So they call me a cockeyed optimist, immature and incurably green. I have heard people rant and rave and bellow that we're done and we might as well be dead. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing, I'm a cockeyed optimist, and I can't get it into my head. I hear the human race is falling on its face and hasn't very far to go. But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of Jell-O and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart. That is a cockeyed optimist, also from South Pacific. So here we are at my first one-man show. Unbelievable. Now, I think I know almost all of you. I don't think anyone was driving down Santa Monica Boulevard tonight, saw the marquee and said, oh, look, Elliot Zwiebach is performing. Let's stop in. But in case there was anybody who doesn't already know me, and to all the rest of you that I do know, let me welcome you to this grand night for singing. It's a grand night for singing. The moon is flying high, and somewhere a bird who is bound he'll be heard is throwing his heart at the sky. It's a grand night for singing. The stars are bright above. The earth is aglow, and to add to the show, I think I am falling in love. Falling in love. Maybe it's more than the moon. Maybe it's more than the birds. Maybe it's more than the sight of a night in a light too lovely for words. Maybe it's more than the earth shining in silvery blue. Maybe the reason I'm feeling this way has something to do with you. It's a grand night for singing. The stars are bright above. The earth is aglow, and to add to the show, I think I am falling in love. Falling in love. That's Juna's Bustin' Out All Over from Carousel. And I busted out all over one June in 1947 in the Bronx, New York. Now, I grew up in the 50s, which was an amazing time in New York theater dominated by Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein. In a span of just 16 years, from 1943 until 1959, they wrote 11 musicals, including 9 Broadway shows, 1 movie, I forgot to mention, It's a Grand Night for Singing was the only film score they wrote from the 1945 version of State Fair. So they wrote 9 Broadway shows, 1 movie score, and 1 TV musical, Cinderella. Now, my parents went to see a lot of Broadway shows, and they bought some original cast recordings that would play throughout our apartment. And as a result, while other people grew up listening to Frank Sinatra or Tony Bennett, and a later generation to the Beatles, I grew up listening to Broadway music quite often by Rodgers and Hammerstein. And that's why, with one single and very important exception tonight, all the songs you'll hear were written by Rodgers and Hammerstein, those 2 geniuses. Why Rodgers and Hammerstein? I think they're the best. To prove it, here are a few of my favorite songs. Hello, young lovers, whoever you are, I hope your troubles are few. All of my memories are happy tonight. I've been in love like you. Be brave, young lovers, and follow your star. Be brave and faithful and true. Cling very close to each other tonight. I've been in love like you. I know how it feels to have wings on your heels and to fly down the street in a trance. You fly down the street on the chance that you'll meet, and you meet not really by chance. Don't cry, young lovers, whatever you do. Don't cry because I'm alone. All of my memories are happy tonight. I've had a love of my own. I've had a love of my own like yours. I've had a love of my own. Don't throw bouquets at me. Don't please my folks too much. Don't laugh at my jokes too much. People will say we're in love. Don't sigh and gaze at me. Your smiles are so like mine. Your eyes mustn't glow like mine. People will say we're in love. If I loved you time and again, I would try to say all I'd want you to know. If I loved you, words wouldn't come in an easy way. Round in circles I'd go, longing to tell you, but afraid and shy. I let my golden chances pass me by. Soon you'd leave me. Off you would go in the mist of day. Never, never to know how I loved you if I loved you. Now, with songs like those, how could I not love Rodgers and Hammerstein? And during my life as a singer, I've gained an even greater appreciation for the lyrics, the simple yet eloquent lyrics of Oscar Hammerstein, and the soaring, glorious, beautiful melodies of Richard Rodgers. Now, all these songs work perfectly in the shows for which they were written, and they also do pretty good standing on their own. And as you will see, they also work to illuminate key moments of my life, and I hope you'll agree with that. Now, there was nothing too extraordinary about my early years. Raised in New York, my parents, my sister, and I moved to California in 1961 when I was 14. I went to high school more or less down the street at Fairfax High School. I went to USC, where I majored in journalism, and I spent most of those years dealing with the realization that I was gay. And while it all seems so easy now and so easy to talk to a room full of people about, it was very difficult for me for so many years to come out to myself and then to the rest of the world. Most of what I thought and most of what I felt seemed like it had to be kept as a deep, dark secret that I had to keep hidden. We kiss in a shadow, we hide from the moon. Our meetings are few and over too soon. We speak in a whisper, afraid to be heard. When people are near, we speak not a word. Alone in our secret, together we sigh for one smiling day to be free, to kiss in the sunlight and say to the sky, behold and believe what you see. That's We Kiss in the Shadow from The King and I. Now, so there I was, a growing boy, keeping his feelings in the shadows. And even though I knew what I wanted, I couldn't quite make that connection and find a home for my heart at a time when it seemed everybody else was finding it much easier to find a home for their hearts. I rode by a house with the windows lighted up, looking brighter than a Christmas tree. And I said to myself, as I rode by myself, everybody's got a home but me. I rode by a house where the moon was on the porch and a girl was on her fella's knee. And I said to myself, as I rode by myself, everybody's got a home but me. I am free and I'm happy to be free in the way I want to be. But once in a while, when I'm talking to myself and there's no one there to disagree, I look up and I cry to a big empty sky. Won't there ever be a home for me somewhere? Everybody's got a home but me. That song is from Pipe Dream, one of the Rodgers and Hammerstein flops. Well, I did spend some time looking for a home for my heart, and I stopped in a few houses along the way. But one day, I found what I was looking for when I was introduced by a mutual friend to Michael. I was smitten. Michael was adorable, engaging, funny, very outgoing, with the ability to make friends easily, very much the opposite of the way I saw myself. And he excited every part of me, as this song from South Pacific explains. Younger than springtime are you, softer than starlight are you, warmer than winds of June are the gentle lips you gave me, gayer than laughter are you, sweeter than music are you, angel and lover, heaven and earth are you to me. And when your youth and joy invade my arms and fill my heart as now they do, then younger than springtime am I, gayer than laughter am I, angel and lover, heaven and earth am I with you. Michael was a dancer, a wonderful dancer, and I loved his energy, his personal style, the way he carried himself, his positive approach to life. He absolutely fascinated me, and I never lost that sense of fascination for as long as I knew him. Getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me, getting to know you, putting it my way, but nicely. You are precisely my cup of tea. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day. That's Getting to Know You from The King and I. Now, from the very beginning, he knew I was in love with him, and I knew he loved me in his own way, and he trusted me. We became very close, intimate friends for about 14 or 15 years, and it was all exciting and wonderful. About 8 years into our friendship, in 1988, Michael was diagnosed with AIDS. Now, that was a time when AIDS was almost always a death sentence, and I had to think about whether I wanted to commit so much of myself to Michael. I used to walk from my office downtown 3 blocks to where my car was parked, and I would sing a part of a song from Carousel over and over to myself. What's the use of wondering if he's good or if he's bad, or if you like the way he wears his hat? Oh, what's the use of wondering if he's good or if he's bad? He's your fella, and you love him. That's all there is to that. Common sense may tell you that the ending will be sad, and now's the time to break and run away. But what's the use of wondering if the ending will be sad? He's your fella, and you love him. There's nothing more to say. Well, it wasn't much of a decision for me to make because I loved Michael enough to stick with him even if the ending would be sad. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. At some point, I told him that if it became necessary, I would take care of him. And the point came where he told me it was necessary, and I did take care of him for the last year and a half of his life. And it was the best thing I ever did. Now, I used to tell people it's not as hard as you think or as easy as I make it sound, but it was a labor of love and a great satisfaction for my soul. And I know it improved the quality of Michael's life. Now, this next song is the only one you'll hear tonight that wasn't written by Rodgers or Hammerstein. It was written in the 80s by a guy named Tom Anderson. But since I heard it years ago, long before I became a singer, I identified it with Michael. And when I became a singer, it became part of my repertoire. And I promised myself anytime I ever did a show, I would sing this song. You see, Michael's illness involved some dementia. And some erratic behavior. There was a period when he talked in nonsense syllables. And there was several weeks running when he would go down to the Hollywood Bowl swap meet and arbitrarily sell his possessions, including his stereo. Took a walk to the grocery store one sunny Saturday. I thought I'd be right back until I passed along the way. A yard sale filled with stuff. I just had to stop and see if someone else's hand-me-downs were waiting there for me. A young man came walking up and gave a tired grin, his face a little tattered and his frame a little thin. But nonetheless, he did his best, appearing charming as can be. He took my arm and led the way, and he said this to me. Take a look around. There are treasures to be found. It's the greatest deal in town. You're sure to find some of it's old, some barely used, but no offer is refused, 'cause I'm moving on and running out of time. He pointed out his stereo, some silver spoons from Spain, a photograph of Garbo. Look, she even signed her name. 2 Persian rugs, 10 coffee mugs, a couch and matching chair. When asked where he was headed for, he simply said, nowhere. But take a look around. There are treasures to be found. It's the greatest deal in town. You're sure to find some of it's old, some barely used, but no offer is refused, 'cause I'm moving on and running out of time. I picked out a table lamp and a couple of old striped ties. But when I went to pay the man, tears were in his eyes. What can I say? It's been quite a day, he said so soft I barely heard. Unsure of what to say to him, I didn't say a word. 'Cause I'm moving on and running out of time. Thank you. Michael ran out of time in January 1994. He was not quite 33. One dream in my heart, one love to be living for, one love to be living for. This nearly was mine. One man for my dreams, one partner in paradise. This promise of paradise, this nearly was mine. Close to my heart he came, only to fly away, as day flies from moonlight. Now I'm alone, still dreaming of paradise, still saying that paradise once nearly was mine. Thank you. So now let's light up the lights and brighten the mood a bit here. When I get off the cord, here's the problem. I'm going to show you how much I'm willing to make a fool of myself, just to entertain you, by doing this next song, which is a sexist little song with its very inappropriate lyrics from 1958 from Flower Drum Song. I'm a girl let's start again. I'm a girl, and by me that's only great. I am proud that my silhouette is curvy, that I walk with a sweet and girlish gait, with my hips kind of swivelly and swervy. I adore being dressed in something frilly when my date comes to meet me at my place. Out I go with my Joe or John or Billy, like a filly who is ready for the race. When I have a brand new hairdo with my eyelashes all in curl, I float like the clouds on air do. I enjoy being a girl. When men say I'm cute and funny, as around in a dance we whirl, I just lap it up like honey. I enjoy being a girl. I flip when a fella sends me flowers. I drool over dresses made of lace. I talk on the telephone for hours with a pound and a half of cream upon my face. I'm strictly a female, and my future, I hope, will be in the home of a brave and free male who'll enjoy being a guy, having a girl like me. Okay, now back to my real life. So I was about to turn 50, and I spent most of my 49th year teasing myself about getting old. And then at age 50 and a half, I had a very unexpected liver transplant. Aren't all cabaret shows about things like this? Now, I didn't know the transplant was going to happen, and I didn't know when it did happen because I was in a coma. I had felt sick for a week in January 1998, and coincidentally, I had what turned out to be a kidney stone. So I went to the urologist for the kidney stone, and he saw that I was yellow. He did blood work, called my doctor. My doctor called me on a Friday and said, "You have hepatitis, you have to go in the hospital." I told the doctor that I was a very good visitor, but I had never been a patient. He said, "Tough luck, you got to go in the hospital." So I went into Cedars on a Friday night. I remember having dinner, and the next thing I knew, it was Wednesday. When I woke up, and there was my mother and sister at the foot of the bed. They should have been in Houston. And there was a doctor over here telling me not to be alarmed, but I had had a liver transplant. Well, I was alarmed, but I had a breathing tube. I had a breathing tube down my throat. And I had a lot of questions, but with a breathing tube, you can barely make a sound. So the doctor said I became agitated. I love that word. I became agitated. So they shot me up with morphine, and I stopped being agitated. Now, it turns out what had happened was my liver was on its last legs, so to speak. And had I not had the kidney stone, I would have gone into that coma at home and died, and maybe my ghost would have been up here singing Poor Judd is Dead from Oklahoma. But my doctor spoke to a colleague in Seattle, and they found me a liver, a 30-year-old liver. And I got 3/4 of that liver, and a baby at UCLA Hospital got the other quarter. Now, I booked this show fairly arbitrarily for January 28th, and then I realized that it was exactly 25 years ago today that I woke up from that coma. So while I have no idea what that 25-year-old baby from UCLA is doing tonight, I'm thrilled to be here sharing my life and the music of Rodgers and Hammerstein with you. Now, I couldn't figure out a Rodgers and Hammerstein song that applied to a liver transplant. Now, if I were doing a show using just the lyrics of Oscar Hammerstein, I could have done this one that he wrote with Jerome Kern. Old man liver. And if I were doing a show about Rodgers and Hart, I could have done this song. Liver, when you're near me. But I'm singing Rodgers and Hammerstein. So as I thought about what song would fit here, I thought about the occasion of getting a new lease on life for my new liver, and I came up with this life-affirming song, and you'll know what show this one is from. The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years. The hills fill my heart with the sound of music. My heart wants to sing every song it hears. My heart wants to beat like the wings of the birds that rise from the lake to the trees. My heart wants to sigh like the chime that flies from a church on a breeze, to laugh like a brook as it trips and falls over stones on its way, to sing through the night like a lark who is learning to pray. I go to the hills when my heart is lonely. I know I will hear what I've heard before. My heart will be blessed with the sound of music, and I'll sing once more. Thank you. Actually, I didn't sing once more, anyway, not for 10 years or so after the transplant, when I walked into the Gardenia open mic for the first time and discovered the rest of my life. There's a magic in this building, in this room, a special warmth and joy that I feel whenever I walk in here, and especially tonight. And it's more than the physical space, it's a vibe and an energy from the cabaret community whose individuals have encouraged me from the very beginning when it seemed like I had no future. I am going to like it here. There is something about the place, an encouraging atmosphere, like a smile on a friendly face. There is something about the place, so caressing and warm it is, like a smile on a friendly face, like a port in a storm it is, so caressing and warm it is. All the people are so sincere, like a port in a storm it is. I am going to like it here. That's a little gem from Flower Drum Song, maybe balancing off I Enjoy Being a Girl. Anyway, although this is my first one-man show, it's actually my second stage show. In May 2013, I was asked to MC a cabaret show at a club called M Bar, which was on Vine and Willoughby, a wonderful space. I introduced 10 singers, did duets with 2 of them, did 4 solos. And that show and this face got a lot of publicity on Facebook thanks to the producer, Clifford Bell, who insisted on calling the show Elliot with a Z. But all that publicity resulted in a very significant event in my life. 3 weeks and a day after I did that show, I went to a small theater in the Valley to see a friend in a dramatic show. I was there alone. I could have picked any seat in the theater I wanted. I picked one down on the right side near the front. And a few minutes after I sat down, a guy sat in front of me. And although the rows were very heavily tiered, he turned around, I assumed to make sure he wasn't blocking my view. And he said to me, "I know you. Your name is Elliot. You're a singer." Well, my first thought was, oh my God, I can't go out in public anymore without being recognized. Honestly. And my second thought was, he's very cute. Some enchanted evening, you may see a stranger, you may see a stranger across a crowded room, and somehow you know even then, that somewhere you'll see him again and again. Some enchanted evening, someone may be laughing. You may hear him laughing across a crowded room. And night after night, as strange as it seems, the sound of his laughter will sing in your dreams. Who can explain it? Who can tell you why? Fools give you reasons, wise men never try. Some enchanted evening, when you find your true love, when you feel him call you across a crowded room, then fly to his side and make him your own, or all through your life you may dream all alone. Once you have found him, never let him go. Once you have found him, never let him go. Thank you. We've been together nearly 10 years now. I'm as corny as Kansas in August. I'm as normal as blueberry pie. No more a smart little kid with no heart. I have found me a wonderful guy. I am in a conventional dither with a conventional star in my eye. And you will note there's a lump in my throat when I speak of that wonderful guy. I'm as tried and as gay as a daisy in May, a cliche coming true. I'm bromidic and bright as a moon-happy night, pouring light on the dew. I'm as corny as Kansas in August, high as the flag on the 4th of July. If you'll excuse an expression I use, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with a wonderful guy. That song, as well as Some Enchanted Evening, are both from South Pacific. Well, the wonderful guy I met that one enchanted evening is named Scott, and he's a joy to know. Someone who shares so many interests with me, who understands me, who makes me laugh, who I make laugh, and who loves me. So here I stand tonight in a very happy place in my life, in a room full of people I know and love, so why not be a cockeyed optimist? Let me close with this song, which was written by Richard Rodgers alone for the movie version of Sound of Music. Perhaps I had a wicked childhood. Perhaps I had a miserable youth. But somewhere in my wicked, miserable past, there must have been a moment of truth. For here you are standing there loving me, whether or not you should. So somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good. Nothing comes from nothing, nothing ever could. So somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good. Thank you so much. I'm back to do a well-rehearsed encore. But more importantly, to thank a lot of people, starting with Kerry Kelsey. Yes, there is nothing like a dame, and there's no one like Kerry, who has mentored and encouraged me since I began this musical phase of my life. Thank you, Kerry, for helping me find a voice I didn't know I had. Thank you to Terry Cole back there on lights and sound, not only for tonight, but for helping me through the process of putting all this together. Thanks to my videographer, Andrew Apple, who is one of the open mic people who helped me gain confidence when I started on this journey. Thank you to the wait staff. I don't know if it was just Nicole, but thank you to Nicole for being the wait staff. And thank you to Kyle Branch, the bartender, for getting you relaxed enough to listen to me. Now, thank you again to Nicole Rice, who runs the room and who gave me the final shove to do this show when she asked me last spring, when are you going to do a show? Now, she runs around the room all the time so much I never even knew she was listening. Thank you to my voice teachers, Dave Bass and Doug Gardner, right there on the end, for helping me develop my voice. Thank you to Bruce Lohman and the late Tom Rolla for opening this club and for keeping it going since 1981. Thank you to two departed friends, Sammy and Eddie, for encouraging me long ago to do a show. Thank you to Bob Remstein on piano. Bob is the musical director and tonight's unofficial honey bun. Thank you to my friend John and my sister Frances for always encouraging me. Thank you to my parents somewhere for giving me the music. And very special thanks to my wonderful guy Scott for loving me. So before I really say so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night, I have one more song from The King and I. Now, I committed to doing the show last July, 7 months ago, so this night was never going to happen. So I've had a long time to think about it and dream about it and wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. And although I wrote this in advance, it really has proven to be better than I ever dreamed. So thank you very much. I have dreamed that your arms are lovely. I have dreamed what a joy you'd be. I have dreamed every word you'll whisper when you're close, close to me. How you'd look in the glow of evening. I have dreamed and enjoy the view. In these dreams I've loved you so that by now I think I know what it's like to be loved by you. I will love being loved by you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.